regular council meeting to order, June the 17th at 7 o'clock. Is there any additions to the agenda other than the one I have? I would like to move the executive session, 20-minute executive session, to discuss non-elected personnel to under citizen comments.
Bob, I think we should go 30.
Go 30?
Yeah.
Any objection?
Make a motion to move the executive session to after citizen comments, and extend it to 30 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel, to include the table and Carl.
Got a motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Aaron Gleason,
Rains.
or Aaron Raines made the motion by Aaron Gleason.
Carl.
This Carl.
This Carl, not you, Carl.
Thank you. I appreciate knowing that.
Sorry.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
I'd make a motion to add the 1% sales tax conversation with Weens and Company after citizens' comments, but before our executive session. That way they don't have to wait for it.
Second.
Got a motion on the table and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. We'll move it to before the executive session. Any other additions to the agenda? Move us to citizen comments. Anybody got any citizen comments?
Where we need to step in here?
We're getting ready to get you next.
Okay.
Okay, we'll turn it over to
Yep. Carl Bear.
Wayne Carwell. Carl Bear. Go ahead.
Oh, well, obviously I'm representing the school board, and Weens and Company is our lead contractors on the possibly proposed school bond issue, and they'll hand out some information here and take it from there.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm passing out a little bit of just a summary report to give you all an overview of what's been going on with the schools. I'm Sid Weens with Weens and Company Construction. This is Sarah. I call her Sarah Landmark. Sarah Seib with Landmark Architects. Sarah and I have been working together with the community committee, which is a ad hoc committee, I guess you'd call it, working on school facilities. And what I've handed you is just a real brief overview of the process we went through. So I'd like to just spend a minute talking about it. If you go to page 2 and 3, that gives you an overview of the existing facility. Page 3, it shows you what part was built. And then on pages 6 and 7, I should say, we have just samples of committee comments. We went through an evaluation process. We toured pretty much every room in the facility, and Aaron, were you part of that, Kyle?
Not the
Aaron,
original.
you weren't either?
I wasn't.
Okay, well, it was a laborious process, but anyway, and they all returned comments to me, and I typed them up, and every space got a letter grade. So, based off their average scoring. If you turn to page 8, it is an illustration of where each of the spaces fell. So, and green being the best, red being the worst. So you can take your time and look that over, but ultimately, if you turn to the next page, which is the fold-out page, this is the concept that ultimately was approved by the board as a concept to go forward with a bond issue on. And the board is going to be meeting July 14th or something like that to call a bond election. If you turn to page 11, which I think you might already have a copy of this information, this is from Piper Sandler. This gives us a kind of an idea of where taxes, what the tax impact would be. And you can see, and by the way, the board elected to, or at least the discussion has been that the board would proceed on a $17.9 million bond issue. So that's the center column on both sides there. If you look on page 11, you'll see there's two sets of figures, one with a sales tax, a 1% sales tax, and one without. And you can see it has a fairly significant impact on those numbers.
Can you remind me, Sid, if that 1% was a 90% share on their calculation, or if it was a whole 100% share?
I believe it was a 90% share.
Okay.
So, so basically, there's what the school board is asking you to consider is if you would put a sales tax question on the ballot for this residents within the boundaries of St. John to vote on, which would be a portion of that up to 90%, depending, and I'm not the lawyer here, and Sarah did hand you some thoughts from Kevin Cowan of Gilmore Bell, who's an attorney that specializes in these things. The school board is asking you to consider adding that to a ballot question this coming November, for the purpose of reducing the amount of property tax that citizens within the school district would pay additional. Of course, the benefit of that is you're getting both traffic from out of district that comes through and spends money in St. John. That would help, as well as people who don't own property but make purchases here in town. So that would be, an additional revenue stream that would help lower property taxes overall if the bond issue were to pass. So that's in a nutshell what we're here to present. I don't know, Carl, if you have anything to add, or Sarah? So there's two ways you could approach this. Again, that excerpt that I pulled from an email today that Kevin Cowan sent, that's that individual piece of paper. I didn't get that in time. I didn't put it in my booklet. You can do a special use tax where the only thing it's spent on, as I understand it, going based on what he wrote, it would go mostly to the school. That instrument would sunset after 10 years if the public approved that. A general purpose tax, on the other hand, could be, it wouldn't have to sunset, or it could be defined in the ballot language to sunset coinciding with the school bond issue, however you wanted to structure that. And it's a general purpose because it can be used for more than just the school assistance. So
Yeah, I had some correspondence with Danny Lynch, our city attorney, and it was a similar response to what you have here. I do want to ask him a little more on if basically what he found was that there's not a limit to how much can go to the school anywhere that he could find as far as documentation of that. But I wonder if that 90% comes from the way that he mentions that a special purpose tax is simple, it's used for a specific purpose. So it makes sense that 100% of a specific purpose could go to the school, but that's a very specific purpose for a general tax. And so I wonder if you get around some of the language of general by saying a certain percentage is going to remain general for the city to use versus however much percentage is going to the school. I don't know if there's any legal bounds there as far as that goes, but
My only experience in this, and you know, I'm talking through my hat here. When we're currently constructing an addition to the schools at the Cross, they passed a special tax, and the financial advisor in that bond issue advised us that the city could only contribute 90% of the collections to the district. That's an anecdotal. I mean, that's all that's worth. I guess my recommendation to you as a council would be to determine, one, is this something you're interested in helping the school with? And if so, if the answer is yes, then what percentage would you like to commit to the school if that were to pass? And for how long, thirdly? Once you determine that, then I think the attorneys can figure out how to massage that and make everything kosher, are my thoughts.
sure. Yeah, so kind of like we discussed at the last meeting, we won't make a motion until the board officially passes the addition to the ballot. As a council, we'll just wait till that's official. So I would say this meeting is, I mean, Kyle and I have been in the discussions with Sid and Sarah and Carl. Well, I guess Carl hasn't been part of the building committee, but so if you have questions on this specific project or anything that they could answer, this would be your opportunity to do so, like from your seat on council. Kyle and I have been through a lot of that, but this is, you can talk to the head of the horse here if you have questions about the project or any of the stuff here, because we won't make a motion on this until their ballot question is approved.
Well, Carl, has the school considered just tearing that thing down and building a new one? I mean, what's the cost difference between spending this much money putting Band-Aids on and building a new school?
Almost double that.
Did you do a study?
Yeah, when we sat down with Weens and Company, I mean, obviously the sky's the pie, or pie is the sky, and everyone had ideas about what they envisioned, and that was what, 42 million, something like that.
We were over 40 million,
Yeah.
and that wasn't a totally brand new school, because there's,
Yeah, that's
like
true.
the gym, that's perfectly usable, and there's parts of the building that are in great shape that would be kind of wasteful almost to tear down. But we have considered a wide range of options, and Sarah's drawn a ton of plans. So what you see, part of the consideration is what's a reasonable amount for the school to ask the taxpayers to bear. You know, I mean, we're already upping the mill levies considerably with a $17.9 million effort. If you go $45 million for a new school, for a whole new campus, or 35 for tearing a lot of it down, it just becomes, it would be almost impossible to get the voters to approve that. I mean, and
Might as well build a county school, huh?
well, I mean, you know, that would be an option, but your other districts have to agree to that. And I think there's been conversation. Josh reached out to the Maxville district.
We've actually reached out to both districts since here in the last 10 years. Basically sharing teachers, sharing some sports, combining some sports, some resistance on both sides of the county from here, and but most recently we have reached out to Maxville, and we have been in talks with them as far as cooperating together. Nothing in depth like this of, you know, building something out here on Highway 50, nothing like that. That's a whole nother.
I'm just curious, I
Yeah.
wasn't part of those other conversations.
Right.
These are the kids of the future.
Yep.
So, can you put a price tag on that? It's hypothetical.
Yeah, I would say no, and we're, you know, I raised my kids here at this school. I graduated here, and I have a grandkid, and one on the way that's going to go to school here. Yeah, we got to think in the future. There's no doubt. So.
Were you around when Stafford did their high school? Do you know what they spent on it?
We've done some work there in the past. We didn't do the original,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, they've got a nice facility, but they also have, I think they have a contributor there that kind of multiplies their tax collections.
Okay. Well, thanks for the information. I just need to look at it and study it and go from there.
And we'd be happy to come back, you know, after the board acts, or the school board acts.
When is the absolute latest we need to make a decision? Was that the first part of August?
It would be, my comfort zone would be if you would act in July. The first meeting in August would be, we still have time. There's a certain amount of time that's needed for the Gilmore and Bell and Piper Sandler to put all their stuff together, then get it to the county clerk, and the county clerk to do all her work to register the ballot question with the Secretary of State. So ideally, if we could, we absolutely have to have it. I don't know what the first meeting is in August, but I would say that would be kind of drop dead date for you all.
So the way our meeting schedule is our second meeting in July would be the day after the school board
Yeah.
meeting would be the 15th, so we'd either do it then, or we would need to do a special meeting
I mean,
later in July.
you meet first and third?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it'd be
So I
July 1 or
think
July
August would be fine.
August 5th would be our first meeting
Yeah.
in July.
We'll
Or,
confirm
excuse me,
that with
August.
county clerk, but to get it added.
I don't think you need a special meeting. If it even says early in August, I think it'd be okay.
Well, I think the only difference that the board, after doing it after the board meeting, is confirmation that it actually passes to be on there. The bond number is set, the general plan is set. So there's not much that's gonna change as far as information, other than knowing if it passed or not.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that, unless there's a reason that you guys want to wait another meeting, I don't see a reason why the decision couldn't be made our last meeting in July, because the information's not gonna change, but that's my opinion of it.
On the ballot, in the structure, if the school bond, say it does not pass, but the 1% does pass, isn't that connected? So even if the 1% does pass, it would fall, it's tied to the bond, right?
That would be at your direction. So it can be written in such a way that if the school bond issue fails, then the 1% sales tax is moot. So,
But we could do it either way, whether if we want to make it a general purpose, and then I guess there would be, I don't know how the best way to do that would be, you know, if our main focus is for the school bond and school bond doesn't pass,
then I guess you'd be 1% up.
Yeah,
Unless it's already agreed upon what percentage it was, and if it's not contingent on the bond, then we would be obliged to pay the school that percentage, even though there's not a bond issue. And it would have to go to their building fund or something. But I would say making it contingent on the bond makes the most sense.
probably, yeah.
Especially if we do a general for the 25 years to match the bond, if that's the route we go.
Yeah.
Because I guess we still need to discuss how we would wanna do that. If we wanna do a 10-year renewal or do a general and then make it the same length as the bond issue. But
Well, I don't have any other questions. I just need to go over it, and if I have any questions, I'm good with you.
yeah. And I'm sure Sid will answer. I don't know if your
Yeah.
contact info is on here, but I
You
can get it
guys
to
have
you.
my contact
yeah,
information.
we can get it to you.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss it however we need to, so.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're on speed, man.
Okay, Carl.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Moving on. Entertain a motion for a 30-minute executive session, table and call.
I'd make a motion to go into an executive session for 30 minutes to return at 7:52 to include the table and Carl Wettenstein.
Seat, sir. Welcome.
Hello, all.
We need a
I'll second
motion.
that.
Oh, second.
Got a motion on the table, for executive session in a second, by Aaron Raines, all in favor? All opposed? That's just 5. Call council meeting back to order from executive session. Consent agenda, I'd entertain a motion to approve minutes of regular council meeting June 3rd, 2025.
Make a motion to approve regular council meeting minutes, June 3rd, 2025.
Motion made by Mark Bryant,
Second.
second by Aaron Raines. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? This is 5-0. I'd entertain a motion for appropriation ordinance 06-17-25 AP in the amount of $58,288.94.
Make a motion to approve appropriation ordinance number 061725 AP in the amount of $58,288.94.
Motion on the table
Second.
and a second by Aaron Raines. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? That is 5-0. Department head, Curtis,
I got nothing at this time.
council got anything for Curtis and the electric department?
No, right in the report.
Okay. There's nothing else for Curtis. Water department, Jason.
Well, I do have a few things.
Okay.
First of all, on that, if you look through your packet, I should have a few things, and the first one was gonna be that Torrente technical. And on that is, I got a quotation on there for the 33,500 one. And that's the gentleman from, his name is Austin, and he was the one from Mayor. And he took over the business, and that's the only one I could find to help get this going. But on the sewer plant out there, it's to help get these, to get it back into compliance from the state. And it's to get the gates, the slide gates, the valves and everything back to, get them back up to snuff. And to get the part of this that we got wrote up on from the state, to get at least that part going again. And then, so when the guy from the state shows up, that we're trying to have good faith of getting stuff fixed. And that's what I'm trying to do and get going on that part of it. So that's why I got a quote from him to get that ball going on that one and see if we can get that part fixed. And then later on down the road, maybe we can start working on the slab work of the concrete and get that going as well.
So we got dinged from the state on something. No. So is this is just step one in getting
Yeah,
back?
step one, yeah, try to get us back up there.
Or does this come in the budget? Is it just out of the sewer fund?
Replacement fund, I believe, if I remember correctly what I have. Yep, sewer replacement fund, we have 30,000 in there.
So this is a little bit more than that.
Yeah, and then the rest can come from sewer utilities, cause in capital improvement and sewer utilities, we have another 20 in there. So we have about 50 that we can spend on this project to get started.
What other work outside of fixing these gates is there?
The rest of it's gonna be concrete, the slab concrete work of the apron all the way around all 3 ponds. And that's gonna be our next one.
That'll be a lot.
It's gonna be a lot.
Is that next year? When you say the next one, what's the time frame?
Well,
For the
it's,
concrete
there's
work.
no way that we can afford to do all of it at one time.
I know, do you have it projected out?
Well, no,
Okay.
no, there's no projection on that. It's just when we can slowly come up with it. We'll just have to, when he comes again, when he sees this, then he'll say, we're making a good effort, good faith. And
We'll
then
go
we'll
to
just
step
sit there and I'll say, well, we're trying, we'll keep going. And then we're, when our budget left allows us, we're working on it. So
Okay.
please, please, allow us to look at us, what we're doing, and then go from there.
My plan was to work one pond each year into the sewer budget to where we could replace at least one pond a year until we get all 3 completed, and then put in a budget to maybe save for like in 5 years we'll look at it and see what need replaced and use that money to go, because right now there is no plan as far as saving for repairs out there.
So we do this one, maybe 5 years down the road.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to make a motion on
Yes,
this?
please.
Council, have any other questions?
You said that this is the only quote that you were able to get as far as competitive bid. There's no other
Yes.
company that does something similar.
The only one I could find,
No.
yeah.
And this is the Austin from Mayor that used to.
Yes, because I was asking him to help me start finding some people, because Mayor does not do this. And the person that he got a hold of for me to talk to is getting ready to retire. So Austin sat there and decided to he was talking to Austin to buy out his company, and so he's buying out his company and slowly breaking away from Mayor.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the Torrentine Technical Solutions. Does this need to be taxed because it's part of utilities or no?
Yes, correct. 35,000.
35, got it. Be another $3,000 on it.
Do 40.
37 should cover it, right?
Sure.
I'd make a motion to approve the Torrentine or Torrente Technical Solutions quote for sewer work in the amount not to exceed $37,000.
Got a motion on the table, do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion by Aaron Gleason, second by Sarah. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? That was 5-0.
Yeah, that's my copy.
Okay. Okay, on the next one, I have a quote there for a door and a frame for the skid loader, which is a bulletproof glassy frame. And it's for $2,267.58. Our other one got broke out, and a tree limb went through it when we were doing some work and trying to get that mess cleaned up out there. And we were just wanting to get it replaced with this for safety glass, for safety reasons for one, And, so that way if it gets hit again, it, save us money and not get broke. And, but the main reason I was hoping for was the safety part of it. So it wouldn't go, something wouldn't go through that glass and hurt the operator, or maybe, you know, cause a really, harm to them. And this looks like this one here.
Is the Bobcat a certain department, or is this just general
It's for
equipment
all,
fund
yeah.
budget for that?
We have vehicle repairs in general fund for like our graders and rotors and stuff like that we use, so this will come out of that.
Okay, we haven't used that much this year, have we?
No, not at all.
Is this quote with tax? Or would this be non-tax?
This would be non.
Yes,
street.
we'll be paying it out of the street department. That's how we get away with the tax.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think especially if the one that's in it broke out, I think replace it with something that's gonna last longer. I'd make a motion to approve the White Star quote for bulletproof or shatter resistant glass window with frame in the amount of $2,267.58.
Second.
Got a motion on the table by Kyle Gleason, got a second by Mark,
Aaron Gleason.
or Aaron Gleason, I'm sorry. All in favor? All opposed, passes 5-1.
Alright, third one is, for the, mosquito biomist. Get a 55-gallon drum of that. And that looks like the Van Diest one, like this one.
I saw the truck out spraying. Who's doing that now that Eric's gone?
No, just, who's on call.
Whoever's doing it.
Mhm.
So did you just have some from last year? Is that how you got started?
Yeah. Mhm.
Will this last? the
Well,
year?
we have some, we're hoping this one will last for the rest, but I'm not, if it keeps raining, I'm not gonna promise anything.
Yeah.
And this would be tax-free, right? I'd make a motion to approve the Van Dice quote for Biomist mosquito spray in the amount of $5,434.
Got a motion on the table here, second by Mark Bryant. Motion was made by Aaron Gleason. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed, passes 5-1.
And the last one's the chip seal project. If you look through that, sit there, and the total on that one is $119,574.88. I'm gonna use a limestone on that. This was my thinking on this. Is I'm gonna use a CMK limestone on the back streets of no truck traffic. It's cheaper. What I wanna do is use what chat we have left on a 3/8 chat and use that on a truck traffic streets. Stronger, it's a granite, and I'm having a hard time finding it that's close. We have a bunch of it left down there for this year. So I'm gonna use up what we have, and I like to use it, we have a little bit left on First Street from last year, and I'm gonna use it on West Street this year. And the rest of the limestone, I wanna fill in some streets and that we're doing, and get some of these other streets covered that from 2019, 2020, so we get some of those covered that are breaking out. And that's what's gonna cover this, cover the county's cost and the oil and et cetera. And that's how I broke it down for you.
Well, I think it's gotta get done. We gotta stay on top of the roads,
Yeah.
so.
When was the last time we increased our street budget for this purpose?
Not for a long time. It's in a general fund, so it's
So
not
we
there.
haven't moved it with inflation.
No.
Something we probably need to look at this year, right? Cause,
Yeah, we'll talk about it some more next week when we do our
yeah,
budget.
cause I mean, even I remember when, 80 to 90,000 would
Would cover
cover
it,
it
yeah.
when I was first
Oh, yeah.
on, and now it's just, everything's more expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
We do ask, up to 120 though, I know I put in my report, 115 with the new figured.
How does that work? Do we approve the whole project, but then, like, typically when we're approving quotes, it's for one person that we're gonna pay. So like, we pass 37,000 to go to the sewage fixing, that goes to one contractor. Where this is kinda split out between 4 or 5. Do we need to approve, can we approve the project as 120?
Yes, what I usually do is that you approve up to a certain amount, and then every invoices that I have, that Jason will specifically say, okay, this is for the street department, then I keep track of that, of how much we have, and then if we were to go over the amount that we agreed upon, then we would have to bring it back to the table.
So each bill will just show up in the accounts payable as we pay them then?
Correct.
And as long
It's
as we
just
stay
like-
under the 120 total, then?
Yes, yep, it's just like the engineering bill for the Fifth Street project. I have a spreadsheet keeping track of how much we have paid so far and how
Sure,
much
but that's
we.
still one contractor
Mhm.
versus this is gonna be multiple contractors invoices to one project. I just didn't know if that
I mean,
mattered.
but as long as you, I always been told, as long as you don't go over the amount that you guys agree upon and approved, we are okay.
Okay,
And not having to be like specifically for each vendors that you're gonna use for this project.
sure. What did we budget for the street this year?
85.
85. So where does the extra come from? Is there
The-
leftover from
The
years
special
previous?
highway fund. We had some that we had carried over since we didn't do the road last year, but we still kept the same amount that we budgeted from last year to this year. We did have a little bit extra as a cushion if we were to go over, like if we have to replace something or an extra street need repair or whatever. I like to keep the extra that we didn't use last year as a cushion and not touch it, just for emergencies and stuff like that. That's why the amount that we budgeted for 2025 didn't get increased. But we do the rest, you know, like 70,000 is what I'm comfortable with pulling out of the street work, capital improvement and street work. That would leave a little bit in there, and then the rest can come from the special highway fund. And that is what we get from the state every quarter, and that money is available for any road work. Yeah.
How much do we get every quarter from that?
It's average, the average is around 7,000.
Yeah, I mean, gotta keep, streets are, a lot of them are in rough shape.
Yeah, this winter wasn't very
What did we do on, I mean, 4th Street obviously is one of the heaviest traffic streets in town. But, you know, where it's pitting out halfway down there, we had the county come and resurface it.
Mm-hmm.
That was 3, is that
4 years
4?
ago, yeah.
It was kind of right when we moved back to town. It's been 3 or 4 years ago. Is that common that it'd be doing that already after
It's,
3 or 4 years?
it's usually set up on a 4 to 5 year. That's why I'm trying to get these 5 to 6 ones done so we can get this one done.
Again,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
tough.
1st and 4th, you really can't go longer than 5 years.
Yeah.
Is what it
Yeah.
seems like.
That's why West Street didn't get finished from the first time.
yeah.
And that's why it's chuckling out too.
Yeah, I saw Pearl was on your list. That one's
That
really bad.
that one's
That's
too,
bad.
yeah, and it's
and it's
getting
another
milled out.
heavy traffic because it goes to the school, so people come forth and then
Mhm.
Pearl. I mean, that's just the nature
Yeah.
of where it's at.
It's that getting milled out too, plus new concrete or concrete asphalt and get sealed.
Which it needs it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been built up pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything else we can do. Cost what it's gonna cost. We need to get it done.
And see, this one I have for a chat. This is for Granite Chat too, for the truck coming up for the school lunches and to deliver the lunch food and stuff like that too. And then because we get our stuff hauled in for the truck and all that stuff.
Hopefully that'll be a secondary benefit of Fifth Street getting paved too, is just to relieve. You're gonna have some
Perfect.
traffic on both,
Mhm.
you know. And another avenue.
Yeah.
Maybe Pam can find us a grant to concrete First and Fourth Street, and then it'll last 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
First, Fourth, and then we'll just get Fifth
Yeah, no,
concreted
yeah.
instead of asphalt.
I'll work on that.
Yeah.
Need a $2 million grant.
Okay.
I don't think
I don't know if the 2 million is gonna cover it. Maybe 4.
I think we looked into doing 4th Street from the square to 281 was like $1.9 million.
And that was, gosh.
Maybe 2 million.
Concrete,
maybe
and that
over
was
that.
concrete.
No, blacktop. Redoing it, putting blacktop in. Wasn't it?
I thought it was concrete.
Was it concrete?
I'm pretty sure it was concrete.
Well,
We were
I know
talking
it's
about
good.
concrete.
When did they do West Street, the concrete part? Like in the 80s, 90s?
Yeah, probably 80s.
You could,
No, it
If
might
you
have been 90s. I know Lorraine Pesca drove through a quarter 100 yards left tire prints in. I remember that.
you could cost justify a lot of concrete if it costs us 120 grand a year
Enough.
to just keep up to date
Because
with.
that's held up
every-
pretty good, the West Street,
Yep.
Yeah, it's still in good shape.
for 35
35
years,
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, the KDOT grant that we got for the 5th Street, it opens up every year, so we can keep trying.
for it.
There's no amount of time that,
It's just, it sounds like that's really competitive, and we
It
got
is.
it because it's a main street to our
Yeah.
grocery store and pharmacy.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's already a paved street, it's gonna be hard to be like, hey, can you contract this for us?
Apply 10 times and never get it, but
Yeah, it's worth, yeah, we
yeah,
could.
it probably doesn't hurt.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the chip seal project for 2025, not to exceed $120,000.
Got a motion on the table by Aaron Raines and a second by Aaron Gleason.
Yep.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. Okay, Jason, you got one more, don't you?
No, that's.
The heck?
Mhm.
the hash contract.
Oh, the hawk. Oh, okay, yeah. That's, the hawk is, I didn't have that on my plate, sorry. The hawk is just for renewal for next year. And that's just, get for the, CL-17 out there and the nitrate analyzer to get tested for, this year. Or, well, next year, this next coming year.
You've been happy with the service they provided with that? Good to work with?
This last year, or this last time, they sit there and had that run around there, of course, for the nitrate analyzer. But it was, it's because they shipped it to somebody else and I got their analyzer. So it was just kind of the run around. But yeah, as far as everything, yeah.
Is there anybody else that does that stuff in this area?
Not that I know of.
I'd make a motion to approve the Hawk service quote, service contract in the amount of $3,954.
Motion on the table here, a second.
Second.
Got a motion on the table and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
No, that's all I have.
Chief, police chief.
Police chief, Mike, or
I don't have anything for the police department.
does council have anything they wanna talk to Mike about, or ask any questions? No?
Nope.
How are you getting along, Mike? Are you keeping up? You're not tearing yourself up, are you, or you getting some time off somehow? Okay. Moving on, fire chief, Mike,
I don't have anything for fire chief either.
city clerk Pam,
Do you guys have
I
any?
think that brings you to your dental plan, right?
That's under new business, but we can talk about that now. I would like to ask your permission to add the dental plans to the, our current health plans. As you, I don't know if you remember, we, a couple years ago, introduced a freedom claim management to help lower the cost, not lower the cost, but help us save a little money for our health insurance, so we can provide more options and services to our employees. And right now we have a good amount of money that I'm comfortable with, to where we can start, using it to maybe bring in dental and visions. And if depending on how this year is going, by the end of this year, I would like to add vision plan into a health plan as well. We've been fortunate that everybody that are enrolled in our freedom claim plan hasn't had really a big claim coming in to where it depleted our fund. So we're actually setting really good as far as saving accounts go, and there's no point of just keeping that money there. We can help our employees.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Is there, I mean, as far as this is freedom claims, bread and butter, they know how this stuff all works. So the whole idea of that is that that in the long run it is cheaper, or you can expand benefits. We talked about that when we went to freedom claims. I mean, are we, I saw your note, it was like 28,000 or something that we've essentially banked with freedom claims. Is that enough of a cushion that they're saying, yeah, you're comfortable with that? Because I mean, we also went, part of that is that the coverage itself from Blue Cross is not as comprehensive.
Right.
Because we're spending less on premiums and then we're banking the difference.
Right.
So do we have enough cushion that if there were to be a catastrophic type health problem with one of our employees, that the bank is big enough to also cover more, or do we need to wait a little bit longer?
No, their recommended amount to keep in a saving is 15,000. Anything over that, obviously it's our money. We can use all of it we want to, but they recommended that you keep at least 15 in there, because let's say I were to get in an accident and it's gonna cost like a lot for my medical bill when you send it to the insurance. Like for a single plan, like for my plan, Freedom Claim will pay $7,100 of that bill per plan. Obviously, if you have a employee with child or a family plan, that amount goes up, but it capped out at 14.5, I believe, for a family plan. So 15 is the recommended amount.
And then the other thing is your costs here are for current employees, I assume that's what this is, employee, child.
Yes.
So there's 7 on the plan, but our full staff amount would be closer to 12, right?
So this is just for those that enroll with our health plan. So those that are like Jason, he's not on our plan, so he don't get this. And if Jason were to switch, like let's say tomorrow he say, okay, I'm gonna drop that and move to our plan, he's not gonna get, like it won't be fair to fund 100% of his dental plan, because everybody else been putting into that saving every month, So how I have it structured is that, let's say if Jason were to move over, he will get the dental plan, but we're gonna be paying only 85% of his plan when everybody else get funded 100%, because he hasn't really put in the money basically, like everybody else.
Is that how they recommend it, or is that just something you came up
No,
with?
that's just something I came up with to make it fair for the other employees that have been with us for, over a year, and they put a little bit in it each month into that saving, and so does the city.
Is it up to us to make our own plan?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, I think
That gets
I
complicated.
think that gets too complicated. I think we either offer it at 100% or we don't. And if that's enough for another employee to hop on, then they do. I mean, I think you offer what you offer.
I mean, that's really up to you guys. I was just trying to make it fair for
No, I
those
can
that
under-
have
I can
been
understand
in the
where you're coming
plan,
from.
I do too,
So-
but then you're gonna have to track and it'd be
Yeah, I
like,
think
well,
you
this
just offer it.
employee is on a year, then I just think that's gonna
Sure, I mean,
be
yeah.
messy to keep track of.
That's fine.
Okay.
If you want to just go ahead and fund 100%, then that's
And I
another
think-
option too.
And I think is it also true, this plan, but also our health plan, we cover more than what we promised,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
So like, if there was an issue, we're promising an 85-15 split, but because things are well in the accounts, we're willing to cover the 100%. But if there was an event, then we have promised 85-15. The contract with our
Yes.
employees is 85-15, but right now we're covering 100%,
Right.
correct?
Like, let's say if next year we have a depleted fund in the saving account, we can go back to 85-15. So,
Yeah. But I would just say, just a blanket, if we're covering 100% for Curtis and Jason wants to come on because there's dental now, then we would cover it just the same.
That's why I went with Franny.
Yeah.
you can't sit with us.
Well, that's why I went with Franny, since that's the dinner.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
So, yes.
Yeah, if you're comfortable and Freedom Claims, if we're following their guidelines on what they've seen in their field, because they're the experts on it, then it'd be great to offer it out.
We need a motion for that?
Yes, please.
Does it just need to be that we offer it as written, or what?
To add dental plans to our current health plans, and then we'll get the guys enrolled, get the people enrolled in our plans.
Okay, I make a motion to add dental to our list of insurances covered for full-time employees.
Motion on the table.
100% or 85%. Do you want to do 85-15 or you want to do 100%? That's up to you guys as well.
Well,
That'd be the 85.
could it be both? Can the contract with the employee be 85-15, but we choose to cover 100%?
Sure. You just have to word it like that.
Okay, I retract my previous motion. I'd make a motion to add dental coverage to our full-time employees who qualify for insurance, to be under contract at 85% city, 15% employee premiums, but to immediately be covered 100% by the city for an indefinite amount of time.
How about we do?
Nope.
How about we do a review at the end of each year of the fund, and then
Sure.
we'll revisit.
Okay, I retract my previous motion.
But isn't that what we do anyway? If he just does the 85-15, it's an unwritten thing that we do, depending on our funds, to cover 100%, correct?
Yes, but I would still need
But
your
we'd still need
approval
approval
to do the 100%.
So immediately it would be covered 100%
Doing
to be
100%
How about you just
at
do
the end,
your
until the end
approve?
of the year.
Yep,
or
there you
something
go.
like that.
We're approved to add the dental plan to our current health plan for a full-time employee for 2025. And then we will revisit and base our decision for 2026 on the amount of the saving account.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, buddy. Go.
Okay. Deep breath. I'd make a motion to add dental coverage to full-time employees' insurance options to be covered by the city at 100% for the premium through the end of 2025, at which point for 2026 the premium coverage by the city would be reviewed.
Correct.
Got a motion on the table, do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion by Aaron Gleason and a second by Aaron Raines. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-1.
Okay, so is everybody still good with next Tuesday for the budget workshop? Okay.
I'll be doing it by phone.
Okay, yep, I will have all the worksheets sent out that Friday, so you have the weekend to look over. And, keep in mind that if you have any projects that you want to work it into the budget, if any improvement that you have in mind that you would like to start and see where the money coming from, bring that idea to the table and we'll try to work that in, with the budget. So,
What time is it?
7.
7 o'clock,
Are you guys okay with 7?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Tuesday evening,
Yes, next Tuesday.
and here?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's,
Okay, now where did we get off to?
Danny's not here. We're down to new business.
Yeah, we're still on your sheet. I talk about fireworks.
Fireworks.
Sure, yeah, it's under new business, so, but, yeah, go ahead, like I said, we just need to determine how many days you guys will allow the, citizen to shoot off fireworks, and it ranges, you know, there is no rules governing of how many days, you can do all week if you want to, that's up
What
to
did we
you
do
guys.
last year? Just keep it the same.
Last year was on a Thursday, so I think we did Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But this year it's on a Friday.
Do Friday, Saturday.
That's what I think, Friday, Saturday only.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I just need a motion.
Do we need times? More than times last
Yes,
year?
it would be from 8 a.m. to midnight. That's
On
what we
both
did
days.
last
8
year.
to 12,
Yes.
Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd make a motion. Is it in the form of an ordinance or what? Is
It's a
there
resolution.
a resolution?
Yeah.
Do we
Actually,
need a
no,
resolution number?
it's a proclamation.
A proclamation.
Yeah, kind of like an open burn. When we open up for open burn, we do a proclamation and just have Bob sign it. But you guys have to approve it as a council.
Do we
At
need to
the
approve
meeting.
it as it's written? Like, does one need to be written, or we just?
You're just like it's the same every year, and we just changed the date. So
I'd make a motion to make a proclamation that fireworks will be legal to shoot off within city limits, July 4th and July 5th of 2025 from 8 a.m. to midnight on both days.
Got a motion on the table by Aaron Gleason. Here a
Second.
Second by Aaron Raines. Any more discussion on fireworks days? All in favor? All opposed, passes 5-1. You got one more, we might as well get it while you're here.
sure. So I have kind of put a summary in my report about the capital improvement fund update. This is how we kind of wanted to structure it as far as updating this rate and take out the water subcharge, you know, because we're done with the nitrate loan now, so we can't continue to charge that. We thought that the fixed rate of $6 is actually going to be more beneficial than structure it like the water subcharge to where it based on the usage of the utilities. You know, the average household here in town use about 4,000 gallons of water, and you know the water subcharge is $2.50 per thousand, so that's $10 that would be charged to a customer. But if we charge just the fixed rate of $6, that's actually help the consumer save a little bit of money while we bring in a little bit more revenue. So that's the reason behind this rate and you know why we want to do it this way. If you guys are okay with how we structure this, I will have Danny go ahead and draft up the ordinance so we can take the subcharge off and add this extra $6 to the capital improvement. And my goal is to have everything done, approved, and ready to go when we do billing at the end of July.
So it's gonna be two $6 fees, not one $12 fee.
it would be $12. So the capital improvement will move from $6 to $12.
So are we redoing our old ordinance then?
No, the way, so the old ordinance, you know, it written to where you can only be used in the water, sewer, and electric, I believe, just utilities. And then at the end of that, it said if there's any surplus, any extra, you can transfer it into like any other fund you want. That's how Danny explained it to me. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna treat this $6 new charge as an extra, as a surplus, and then we're gonna keep it in the water capital improvement fund until the end of the year, and then however much we accumulate, then we transfer it to whatever fund we want to be used for whatever. And right now it'd be payment for the Fifth Street project. So what we're gonna do is that we'll transfer at the end of the year, transfer that amount into the Fifth Street project fund for payment. And then after that's done, then wherever you guys want this money to go, then we can move it.
So I know we make those moves at the end of every budget cycle. Is there that $6 fee that's gonna be, we're proposing to be 12? Is it written as a specific purpose, and does transferring it still need to serve that purpose? Like, because we can't just take, like, we can't take a fund that says it's for, I don't know, let's say it's for parks, and at the end of the year, transfer it to the street department. Like, because if we take a fee that's specific to parks, we can't transfer money from that. If we
Right.
transfer it to something that also serves the park, you could do that, but
Right.
if we're taking this $12 fee,
Well,
is it
Are
flexible
you
enough that
saying
we can transfer it?
It's under, you're just saying it's under all utilities?
so the $6 that we're charging right now, it's go into the water capital improvement fund, which can be used for any water related projects. And on that ordinance, it's, you know, like, and other utilities, and then it lists out like electric and sewer, but it didn't list out like the streets and parks and stuff like that. But what we were thinking is that $6 that we already charged, that is specifically for those projects. What Danny was thinking is that this new $6 that going into that's gonna be extra, that there's no specific project that tied to it. So
But
that
it was
seems
initially- but it was
complicated.
It was
But I
initially
guess if
for,
we're still calling it the same charge, even if it's more money, then it needs to be used for that same purpose.
That's
okay.
why a new ordinance would
That's
be
why
a
we
separate
need to
charge.
either have a
Right.
separate charge or a new ordinance that refines the
Yeah.
existing ordinance to
Right.
be used for streets as well. I agree with the premise of, I would prefer it to be the same charge. I think it's better if it's still one line and the charge increases, but we need to make sure that those extra $6 on every bill can be used for streets, because the way I take that is that it won't be able to be used for
With our
streets
current ordinance.
with its
Right.
current ordinance.
So you just want a completely new ordinance and new lines of charge on the bill, and then in that ordinance you don't want to what this money can be used for. Basically, it can be used for infrastructures or projects that the city has. Is that, or do you want to limit it to where what you can be using is? I just need some directions as far as structures.
Well, after the
I'd have to look at the ordinance for sure, but without looking at the ordinance, if it's possible, I would prefer to make an amendment to the ordinance to include street.
Okay.
Because then it'd be the same charge.
then you could transfer out of that fund however much you wanted to the street
And it could
department.
still, so it's still then for all utilities and
Yeah.
street.
I wanted to say we talked about that, but there was something that preventing that from happening. That's why we're doing it this way. Let me get with Danny on that one.
Table it.
I know, yeah, I know we talked about it. I know there was,
I
that
think
was
it-
our original plan.
I think it would be better if you could come up and just add in a $6, whatever it be, cause if people see that your $6 is gone and they're charging 12, you're gonna get a lot of static. But now if it just add another $6 to a different, call it something else,
Category, fund.
I don't know. But if you got $12 on here instead of 6, I think you're probably gonna get some flack. Maybe not, I don't know, just something for food for thought. But it's been $6 forever, ever since we put the nitrate plant in. If you just cross out 6, put 12, people's gonna catch that.
Yeah, but if they pay attention to their bill, they're gonna get the debt reduction will be a way
That's right.
that we just put in.
Right.
So I don't know if it'll actually change, but
It
you're,
should.
you're right, the mental side of it might see 12 versus 6, but
But then
the bill
is-
should be the same.
Is the mental side, is it better to see a 6 turn to a 12 or to see 2 6s?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 6 one way, it's 6 one way.
Right.
It's a dozen one way, it's a dozen the other. It's
Right.
just, I don't know.
I mean, I just wanna get out there, it don't make any difference.
I'll talk to Danny, but I'm pretty sure there was something that preventing us from just updating the ordinance and add street and park into it, but I, for the life of me, cannot remember what that was.
Okay.
So our options are amend the old ordinance to add streets, or to leave the existing ordinance alone and add a new ordinance that would just be specific to everything or just streets.
I would say to everything, just in case future, like we can use it to repair the ponds of the sewer pond if we wanted to, you know,
Is sewer considered utility though?
yes.
So the current $6 charge already covers that.
That's right, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying, it's cover of what utilities
So
would be.
the current ordinance
Right.
covers water and
Yeah.
electricity, basically
Water
parks
and
and
sewer.
streets.
Park Street, infrastructures, well, not infrastructure, Park Street, the, I don't know, like Jubilee could be one, or, equipment that could be going toward, we're probably gonna have to replace the grader, you know, soon, so that could be used for that.
You might wanna think about raising it a little more and trying to make a new ordinance and go to $8 or $10 and earmark that for due to the cost of everything's going up. Your radios, everything that we're talking about is going through the roof. And make it a blanket $10 a fee extra on your light bill.
It might be better just to leave the old ordinance alone and just come up with the new ordinance that governs this new charge and what we can do. That might be the cleanest way, to be honest.
Well, for the 5 years that we have the loan, all the money will probably be going towards the payment anyway. It's
Right.
more of the after the
That's
after the
how-
5 years,
Yeah,
what do we want to do with that money,
Right.
or where can it go? If we, I don't know.
Yes.
But if you come up with an extra $10 per customer a month, that's gonna mount up, you know. And if you got a little bit of rebuttal, well, we're doing a $500,000 street, or we just got a $35,000 sewer project, you know. Your money's gotta come from somewhere. Unless I'm wrong.
No, you're right. So are we just wanna do the new ordinance and not try to mess with,
I don't know that it just, we need Danny's opinion
Yeah,
on what
I
our
think we
options
need
are, what
Danny's.
we can or can't do.
Mhm.
I guess I think then we'll figure out
Yeah.
how we wanna do it.
Okay. Okay.
Old business.
Okay, that brings us to, resolution 2025-11, code violation property.
Is there anything on Fountain District we're waiting for quotes next week meeting?
Yeah. The bids deadline is on the 26th of June for Fifth Street, so first meeting in July is when Joe will be here to talk about all the bids that we received and how to take the next step. So,
Sorry,
And
guys.
Fountain's no update.
no, it's gonna stay in there until we can take it down. Yep, we're good.
Okay, resolution, God,
So the resolution number 2025-11 is, we have a public hearing for the 521 East First Street, and there's nobody showed up, and I just need this ordinance you guys to approve this ordinance so we can move on to the next step of condemning this property.
I'd make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-11 to condemn 521 East First.
got a motion on the table by Kyle Bunker and a second by Aaron Gleason. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. Okay, we got another one for the public hearing on property code violations, and that's
28.
520 East First and 510 North Exchange. The
Which we're out
528.
of compliance, basically, or just.
Yeah, so 528 has been on our list since Jamie started
I
with us.
remember it, yeah.
Yeah, and we have been going back and forth, and it just doesn't seem like he is wanting to do any more to the property, or to me, I feel like he's leading us on. So,
Does anyone live there?
no,
Are the utilities on?
no,
Which property is this?
it would
Just on the
be
corner there,
First and Santa Fe,
across from where that old,
Rios Road.
Rios,
Rios.
yeah,
yeah, across from where that old, there used to be a trailer house, now it's a lot.
that burned
There's a
down.
motorcycle sitting on the front porch.
Yeah,
I was able to get him to move all of those junk cars and the big tree that fell behind the house, but that took some doing. Threatened for him to come to court for him to move all those vehicles. So I'm just done with it. To be frank.
Well, make a motion to approve resolution 2025-12, which is 528 East First Street.
second.
got a motion on the table and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
And the number 2025-13, that is for 510 North Exchanged. That, the only concern that I have is if you drive by the foundation looks like it's about to give out and bulge out, and I'm afraid that it's gonna cave, the whole house gonna cave in. The roof, the porch could be redone, but the roof, it's okay, the siding's okay, but the main concern is the foundation. So
Is it a basement or is it just?
It's got a basement, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it looks like it has a basement.
Is this the one that just sold?
Huh?
Is this the house that just sold? No.
No, it's not very old. That's really the only concern that I have. If the foundation were to be okay, that wouldn't even be on the list. I mean, obviously, we have been mowing it the last 2 summer, The owner, I have talked to her and she was starting to fix it, and then she keep leading me on just like the other one, and nothing had been done to it.
Well, basically, if they can bring us something saying it's safe,
Yes.
we're good.
Yes.
Does she
Does
know
anyone
that?
live there actively?
No.
Haven't for a long
Let's say
time.
it
Yeah.
shows the tax addresses in Florida.
Yeah.
Well, make a motion to approve resolution 2025-13 for 510 North Exchange.
Second.
Got a motion on the table by Aaron Raines and a second by Aaron Gleason. All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
So we got the street repair thing, sewer thing.
I think we pretty much cover everything in the new business.
I'd make a motion to go to a 10-minute executive session to discuss non-elected personnel to include the table, to return at 8:55.
Second.
Got a motion on the table and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Bring the council meeting back to order.
Make a motion to go back into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel to include everyone around the table.
Motion made by Mark Bryant. Here a
9
second.
o'clock.
Second.
Second by Aaron Gleason.
We'll return at 9.
o'clock.
All right, Aaron Raines.
Correct.
All in favor? All opposed? You. Back to order.
Do I need to have them come in first?
Yeah. I don't know how you're not burning it. Like, you have a t-shirt on, you long sleeve.
I'd make a motion to go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel for 15 minutes to return at 9:16.
Got a motion on the table by Aaron.
Second.
To include everyone at the table, including Mike Sanders. Sorry.
Motion on the table by Aaron Gleason.
Second.
Second by Mark Bryant. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5.
Thank you, Mike.
Out of executive session, call regular council meeting back to order.
I'd make a motion to go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel to include the table for 5 minutes to return at 9:22.
Second.
Got a motion on the table and a second by Mark Bryant. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. Out of executive session into call a regular council meeting back to order.
They all stick around?
Well, we'll see.
Oh.
They're all timers. They'll stick around.
Yeah, they're stuck around. They're dedicated. Dedicated employees, I tell you what.
Take the lead. I'd make a motion to hire Mike Sanders as St. John Chief of Police at the rate of $26 an hour with a 6-month probational period according to the city's handbook.
Second.
Got a motion on the table by Aaron Gleason, second by Mark Bryant. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0.
I'd make a motion to adjourn regular council meeting June 17th, 2025.
Second.
Motion on the table and a second. Any other discussion?